Hello, this is Dr. Paul Cottrell, and we're going to be talking about the agroterrorism that's going on in Michigan, or potentially going on in Michigan, University of Michigan, through Dr. Gian. This is dealing with the fungus Fusarium graminearum. And I'm going to show you a few slides. Fusarium graminearum has four different chromosomes. So this is a lot more complex than, let's say, viruses, okay? So we're dealing with genome that is much larger. It's dealing with four different chromosomes, and there's a lot of genes that are being expressed. And it goes through a life cycle to infect crops. So we're going to go through a few slides here in this video. Please, before we do this, please make sure you subscribe to all my channels. I have four channels on YouTube. I have Brighteon, Bitchute, and Rumble. Please make sure you subscribe to the channels. Ask your social media to follow me. And if you like the work that I do, please help support it by getting the products that I have on my store. And if you can, please donate through Stripe, PayPal, or buy me a coffee on my website, the-studio-reykjavik.com, or be a paid member to my Patreon channel. I do these videos for free to inform the public based on my perspective on what's going on. So it's through the donations and ones that have purchased the products that help me to publish these videos for free. So please help support the work I do. Now, the first picture here of Fusarium is on the left side, we have grain, and we're showing a healthy version and a stalk, and we're not stalk, but the head of the stalk. These are where the seeds are, and we're showing an unhealthy version and a healthy version. The left is showing the unhealthy version, all right, on this picture. So you can see here, this is where the actual fungus is on the seeds. And here's a healthy version. Okay. Now, if you take a swab, all right, and you grow it on an artificial medium, you'll actually see the fungus grow this way. All right. So this is Fusarium graminearum. Okay. Now the next picture. Now it has a different life cycle. Now underneath the microscope, you would see these shapes here. Okay. And let's talk about the life cycle. So let's assume that you have crop that has been infected. All right. So the top of this crop, all right, the seeds are infected. And so we get this, what is called ear blight symptoms. All right. And these seeds are infected, and the seed infection causes dampening off and early infection of plant. And because they are the seed and it's growing the seedling, these seedlings are going to be stunted in their growth. In addition, you'll see at the base of the stalk these brown lesions, right? And you'll have the stem will have some streaks going up along the stem. So that's basically the cycle. All right. So it gets there's some sort of infection there's some sort of infection in the ear, some sort of fungus that is growing on the ear or in the soil, and it goes up the stalk, starts to affect the seeds shed, they get into the ground, new seedlings start, but they're stunted in growth. So it destroys the crop, the existing crop, and the future crop. Okay, that's a key point here. Here's another example of seeing this ear blight. Okay. And here is the conidia shape. So remember I said that this is what it looks like underneath the microscope. So here's another life cycle. All right, let's assume that you have the ear blight and the seed's infected, and then further growth of the seedling, it's blighted or stunted growth. All right, so you're not going to get crop. Now, when you have something that's infected of the spike of this, the leaf sheath, right? There's this crop debris that it starts to allow for spores to be able to develop. And these are the shape of those as the spores release. The spores are circular, actually. And then what happens is they pop, and then these conidia start to pop out and then start to infect the stalks and the ear of the crop. Okay, so that's important to keep in mind here. Okay. All right. So in passing, there's 4 chromosomes for Fusarium. And it's a very complex, actually, genome. It's actually pretty involved. So it's doesn't make sense to go through the whole genome because there's so much interplay, and that there's different parts of the life cycle of the actual fungus. So what makes more sense is to dive into the research and what Dr. Jian was doing with the areas of the genome that are tied to immunosuppression of the plant or anti-fungicide capability of Fusarium. That makes more sense to kind of focus on. But let's just do a quick review here. So this ear blight, all right, is shown here on the left side of the screen. This is a healthy crop. And then if you were to use artificial medium, you would actually grow the Fusarium in a petri dish and it would look like this. This is the conidia, right? And that when you have infected seed, you're going to have stunted growth. But even if you had Fusarium in the soil and it infected stalks, it would move up the stalk and into the ear and then, cause the ear blight, and then this cycle would continue. This is ear blight, another example. And then this is the life cycle again, where you have spores that are developed in the debris. The conidia would actually pop out of the spore and then go to the ear, and then that ear would be infected. That crop would die off, and then further development of spores on the ground, and then infected seed would have blighted seedlings. So again, what's really important is that it's not just the current crop, but future crops that are affected. So this is a multi-year event if it does spread. All right, now Okay, that's the end of the pictures here. Again, it's a 4 chromosome fungus. And in future videos, I'm going to focus more on the actual research by Dr. Jian. I'm sorry, Dr. Jian, specifically on how the fungus was going to, how the fungus circumvents the immune system of the plant. Thank you for listening. Please make sure that you go to my website and help support the work I do. And if you haven't, please ask your social media to follow me and to subscribe to all the channels. I have 4 channels on YouTube, Brighteon, Bitchute, and Rumble. All the links are in the description of this video and all my videos. Thank you for listening and have a nice day.